Hello, hello. I am here. Sorry I'm a little late. You can see why. I'm messing with things. Anybody out there? Welcome in. We are having Makers Monday number 28. And I have decided to try a new location. Hi, Sarah. That's why I was running a little late. I moved us to a different location, hoping to have a sturdier table. So I got to get used to this. See if my lighting's right. It might be a little bit, little rocky tonight. A little rockier than usual. So let me know if you see anything that's not right. I need to check to see if I can see this on my iPad, which I'm working on over here instead of my computer. Yay! All right. 2 thumbs up. All right. Hi, Sarah. Welcome in. Happy Monday, everybody. I hope we get more people coming in soon. Happy March. Hello. How quickly it happens. This is tough. It's really high up, the camera angle. I need to try to... I feel like a little kid. It'll work great when we're doing the demos, though. So, welcome in, everybody. We should get some more people soon. If you haven't been here before, hi, Terry. For people that might watch this on a repeat later, my name is Laura Mester of Laura's Stamping Up Legacy Studio. And we have been doing Makers Mondays now for, gosh, this is number 28. So, and I know I started these the end of March. We're coming up to our pandemic anniversary here for all of us. So, not something we want to celebrate, but it's something that's going to happen. So, but as we're coming in, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're here. Tag some people that should be finding us. Hi, Sharon. Welcome in, welcome in. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. I'm trying out a new location here. So we'll see how I do with it. You guys have to give me feedback later. So let me make sure I turn this down all the way too. I have my little iPad here to watch on, which is actually easier than my computer. So maybe we'll like this better. Hi, Sylvia. Come on in. I think you saw some of the posts that I had tonight, what we're going to be working on. Well, before I get to that, I want to say thank you to everybody who's done the card challenge. We have a card challenge running right now, and I demonstrated this last week, and I think, I've had, Sarah did one, Cindy did one, I'm losing track, Mary did one, but I announced this last week, and the card challenge is going to run all the way to the 6th. So if you didn't see last week's, you can go ahead and watch. If you haven't had a chance to do one yet, they're really easier than they look. But anyway, if you do a card challenge, it's always fun, and it'll run into the 6th. And then I hope to announce something fun for at least one person that completed, maybe everybody. We'll see. I haven't figured that out yet. But so I appreciate everyone that's done one. They've all come out beautiful. I know Rebecca did one, and I didn't make a list of that because I just was kind of running ragged trying to get this new area set up. Oh, you'll do that. You'll do it, Terry. Just forge ahead with it. It goes much faster. Hi, Tanya. Yay. Card sliders. Yeah, that's something we can have drive-through card sliders. Wouldn't that be fun? But anyway, like I said, make sure you share this if someone's not here, because today we're going to talk about going forward our next paper pumpkin. If you remember the Here's to You one, which looks beautiful. It has a lot of natural elements to it and stuff. But tonight we're going to talk about stencils, because with the next paper pumpkin, those of you that are subscribing will get stencils. So in your paper pumpkins. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is a great month to go ahead and do that. So you have to do it by the 10th. So I will post stuff later about how to do that. But this is why we're going to focus on stenciling and ways to ink your stencils and use your stencils. And I'm just going to kind of turn down to do that, I guess, because it's easier to show things down, I think, than try to hold them up. You may have seen the cards that we'll be talking about that I did, examples of the stenciling. But the cards that I did, of course, were this one. Hi, Renee. Glad you found us. And they're all showing examples of stenciling, which is the focus of today. So, and I decided to pull out my birds and blooms. So this is one example of stenciling and inking. And then I did another one here that is an example of, this is stenciling, and it has embossing paste. So I heat embossed. So those are actually raised trees. And then this one, I inked it. So I'm going to turn down and show closer examples of that, and we're going to talk about that now. So as people come in, let them know what's going on so that they're not lost. But, and let me know what you think about this new location. Oh, good. I hope you can do one too, Renee. Yeah, try to do them by Saturday. And then if you can do the room on Sunday, then we'll talk about them all there too. So, but let me turn us down and we'll get working on the demo. I'm actually going to, I did like several different techniques with the stencils, and I'm going to show you the things I did, but I'm actually going to demo using embossing paste and inking it with a color. I know I've done that before, but I'm going to do it again because of the new paper pumpkin coming out. And I'm actually going to use the heat embosser on. I know it'll be a little noisy, but I haven't done that live. So I'll show you how to get that to raise and come up. So let's go ahead and turn this down. Get myself, it's going to wiggle more here, girls. All righty. All right, so I think I can just go like this. It might be a little easier than I used to do. Lining up might be kind of tricky this time. So let me see. It looks upside down there, which doesn't make sense. Hold on, girls. I'm still here. I'm trying to see if everything's in the shot or not. And I have trouble with my... Oh. Here we go. Oh, I can see it. Okay, good. Perfect. Sorry about that. I'm working without the the main computer, so I'm trying to figure out my layout. I think in the end this will be good for us. It's just some growing pains today while I figure this out. So to make sure that we can see. Let's see if that's got it. And let's move these things so we don't block the light. I apologize, but growing pains. Since I have this nice space to use, I think I'm going to use it. So is it that way that's crooked? It's going to drive me nuts. There's a little lag between when I move something and when it's it's crooked. The camera's not straight. Must be the problem here. You should all be giving me directions. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. I think you can see it pretty good. I don't want to be crooked on you. But so this was I'm going to talk about some old examples first that I've done before, and I think you've seen these in the past. But this will work. Yeah, very good. So these are examples of well, this is not the first thing I'm going to use. Let's see over here. One way to work with, and everyone has, if you're doing stamping, you have ink. One way to work with stencils is to use your inks. And you can use sponges or blending brushes. I have a few little sponges here and daubers. I did not bring my blending brushes in because I didn't use those this time. But this is, I've made this card before, and I know that some of you have this little, in the back of the catalog they have these. I'll post it later. They're little doilies, And you get a whole pack of them. I know Sarah has these, but you can create a little stencil out of these, which is really neat. And you can use it several times if you're inking, and reuse it as a stencil. And then I actually applied it here. So I stenciled these two areas with sponges, and this was done prior, and just you dab on your ink pad, and then you dab on here until you get the colors that you want. And then I was able to use this because it had been inked instead of being clear. But that was one way to use the inking. So those are a nice little thing in the back of the catalog that I really, really like. And then there are also, we have, this is an old pattern here, and you notice that I've inked that with different, I believe I used brushes on that, or a roller when I did that one, just to show you how you can ink. But this is the current pack that we have, and for some reason they call them masks. These are back in the back area. And our current set of 4 masks, there's polka dots, there's this fleur-de-lis, which I've used, and I'll show you that in a minute. And there's one that I've kind of cleaned to death, and that one is like a leaf pattern. So, and the 4th one is the trees, which we're going to demo tonight. And I have set up over here that we're going to do the embossing paste on. So those are the current ones in the catalog. So those are what we have to work with. Plus you'll get the free ones that are going to come if you get the paper pumpkin. So here's another, and this kind of expands to the next product because I was trying to just stick to the inks. But this actually, I had leftover embossing paste that was colored. I didn't want to waste it. So I embossing paste using that as a stencil. And once you do that, you can't reuse that as a stencil anymore because the embossing paste, of course, sticks to it. But did it light on dark and created this. And it's slightly raised. It's hard to see, but slightly raised. So, and I didn't make anything with this yet. I will, I promise. But that's going beyond the inks. While we're still talking about the inks, so I said you could use a blender brush or a roller. Which a roller is a sponge that's a wheel. You can use these to dab your ink, the sponges or the daubers. You can go straight from the bottle of ink, which I have my bottle of ink here because we're going to color our embossing paste with it. You can also take one of our spritzers. And I did do, hang on, where did they go? Did a lot of pre-work. I did do some of the trees, and you can look back, there's some videos of these before where we did the trees, and some of these trees were done with the sponging technique, and one of these trees was done with the spritzing technique. So when you're spritzing, I also have in the back spritzers that you just fill with water, little spray bottles, and you take the top off and they spritz. You can unscrew them to mix your inks. And you don't mix with water. What you want to do is you want to get the highest percentage alcohol you can get. I know that's tricky right now. At least it's getting better than it was. Alcohol was something that was hard to find during the pandemic, but it's getting a little easier now. But so you put the alcohol in here because that's your base liquid in there. And then you put in, I think I just wanted to do a little. So I just had about this much alcohol, and I probably did 5 drops of the ink, the ink from the ink refill into there. And I had the mask over it, and I spritzed it. And when you do that, it gets kind of wet, and then it dries out. And I'm trying to see, it gives you more of a watercolored look. And I almost can't tell which one it was. I think it was this one. This is the one that I spritzed. And yeah, it was, because it was uneven at one spot too. So I found I wasn't keen on the spritzing for doing the trees. Now it might work really good for the smaller stencil, like the polka dot. But the tree is a little challenging because it has big open areas. And any of you that have used stencils know big open areas, you have to approach a little differently. There's one more cute technique, and this we don't sell. this you pick up either at a box store or a drugstore, but this is glycerin. So you can take an ink block, one of your, I don't have one here to show you, but you can take an ink block, and I've done this in a previous video, and you can put a few drops of the glycerin on there and a couple drops of the ink, and then you use your sponge to get a little of the glycerin, a little of the ink, and mix them together. And what that does is, when you're doing just ink pad to paper, it can be a little more sketchy, a little more particulate maybe. And when you get the glycerin in with the ink, it gets creamy, so your color gets even more saturated. But that's all the inking techniques. So going forward, as we're looking forward to our stencils coming, that's ways that you can ink, except for the fact that you can make your own stencil too, which I'd like to point out, which is what I did. Excuse my reach. Getting used to this new system here. This right here. Oh, one thing quick, back to the trees. If you notice, you may have been wondering, gee, Laura, what's wrong with these trees? Do they have little caterpillars on them? No, what I did, I took my watercolor pencil and I went back in, and I went in where all the little, I was thinking I'd make white birches, but that was tricky. So I went into all the little angles where branches went off and put a little coloring in there to make it darker. So when I finished my card, which this is the card that I did, you can notice that it looks, just add a little something to the trees. And you could even add a little more if you wanted to make it more rustic looking. So I had fun making those today. So that's all the inking. I actually, after I went through all that process and then I did the heat embossing paste, that was my favorite for the trees anyway. I'm not so sure I'd feel that way about the others. So while we're talking about the inking, you can take, watch me not be able to find it. Yes, I found it. You can take a any die that you have or a punch, and you can die cut something. And then you have the what's left after you take your die cut image out, and you can use that as a stencil. So this is from the Birds and Branches, and it's coordinating dies, and their coordinating dies are called the Birds and More dies. And there are dies in there that are more than birds, believe it or not, like it says. But it cuts this wonderful, wonderful window. So I used that window, and I cased this from, I think it was Tina's ink. And then I used I just coming off of the stamp pad, and daub back and forth with these to create coloring behind there. And then I decided to distress the edge of this one, but then I just went ahead and used that as a card base for this one. So you can use the leftover, the missing image part to create your stencil with any of your dies and any of your punches. So that's a really neat technique to keep in mind. So enough with all that. Let's get to the actual meat of the demo here. These are examples also. We saw this one, which was using the embossing paste, which we've talked about embossing paste before. It comes in a jar like this, and it's just a white paste. There's your paste in there. We sell two. One's shiny and one's not shiny. This is the non-shiny. These are examples I've done in the past. This was using, of course, that doily. This was using the masks that are there now. These were colored because it's white, and I put some terracotta tile in those. This was one with the fleur-de-lis, and there was a silver. So that was in a previous catalog. They had the silver, and this is heat embossed, so it's texturized. There's some examples there. This is a neat example you can do. This is not, I did not color this with ink. If you look at that, it's gold. So what I did was I took the paste as it was in white, and I applied it into the stencil. And then after you pull it off, you take your embossing powder, you sprinkle it on, and that paste is sticky. So it all sticks to that. and then you do the heat tool on it, and that makes it puff. So that's a really, really, really interesting thing to do. But so today what we're going to do, first we have to mix your paste. So you want to get your paste in your ink that you're using. And I did not want to do, and we sell little mixing tools in the back. I have various ones. I better get my cards out of here. This is the one that I'm going to be, I'll make a background like that, which is the raised one that I used to make this bird. These are really neat too. I learned a trick to this while we're talking about it. Another little trick. We all love tricks. So these are the pearls. These are the white pearls. If I can find them. Here they are. These are the little white pearls, and you can color them any color you need them. I was going to try, but I'm probably going to run too long to try it. You can't color them with the Stampin' Writes because those are water-based. I'm not sure if the Stampin' Blends work. You would think they're alcohol, so they should. I had heard to use Sharpie, so these are actually colored with a black and red Sharpie. So that's how I got my little... This is an actual embellishment from the back of the catalogs. But these are the white pearls that you can color with a black or red or any color Sharpie to get the colors you want. So next time you order, throw in some of those little white pearls. They're great. But anyway, okay, out of the way so we don't mess them up. You don't need a lot of paste. A little goes a long way. And once you take it out of the jar and you're working with it, I didn't bring any, I do have water back there. Once you're working with it, you're not going to put it back in. So you don't want to take too much out. So I've had this a while. It starts to get a little stiffer as you go. I actually had a spritzer with me when I was working with this, and I spritzed it with a little water. The ink gets it wetter as well. That's almost as much as I need, believe it or not. And I'm going to cover a lot. I have a 5.5 by 4 1/4 piece of white cardstock behind there. I'll take a little more because since I'm on air, I don't want to mess up. So that's more than enough right there, probably. I can always mix more if I need to, right? So try to close that tight. I might put a little drop of water in it too. I got water down here. There's 1 drop. I only put a couple of my ink drops in there because I didn't want it to, I want it to be almost like white birches. That's what I was going for. But I just want, there's always more ink right on it, so I'm just going to do that. All right. That's all it takes. It's great to invest in the inks. All right, so just start mixing. It's kind of stiff at first, but it should get a little smoother. And like I said, if you have a spritzer with water in it nearby, you could always spritz a little water in this, which I'm probably going to do another drop of water in there, just to make it easier to mix up. Kind of looks muddy, doesn't it? Starting to wonder if I have enough. Probably do. How many of you out there do you have heat tools? Have you done heat embossing? What's your favorite thing to do with your heat embossing? I like just doing the heat embossing with white or black to make the sediments really pop. That's one of my favorite things. I'm worried I don't have enough. So if that's the case, I should put a little more in. Just a little. You don't want to put your color in there. You want to come over here with something that's not. Got it. And by the way, I'm working on the silicone mat, which we have in the back of the catalog, kind of tucked away. There's all sizes silicone mats. This is a nice small one for doing little things. We only sell this size. It ended up being a lot darker than I thought, so that's all right. So I think that's it with that. Do you see how it got a lot smoother? More like a stiff frosting now. Before it was just too stiff to work with. So while it's nice and mushy and all mixed up nice. Okay. I'm working with a big wide open area, so I picked a nice flat tool. So let's get this one out of the way so I don't get in trouble. All right, in the meantime, I've prepped with a piece of scratch paper behind it, my piece of cardstock that I'm gonna put the paste onto. This one's really tricky because it has, this is a, I would start, if you're just starting out, I would start with things that have smaller, you know, like the doily or the dots. These are the things that have bigger opener areas. It's hard to work with as you're starting out, but you learn how to do it. So this one, I'm going to work from the top down. You can't go, you got to go in one direction on most of them, especially on this one. So get a little bit and start with, be brave and just start with one spot and just start pulling it down. And then you can scratch over it to get the excess off. Doesn't take long. All the prep work seems to take longer than actually doing it. So sometimes when you're doing these, like if you're doing we used to have bricks, and when you're doing something like that and it's more of a background, you might be doing a distressed look, so you don't even worry if you have it totally filled in. But with these trees, I wanted to totally fill it in, which is also challenging. But it's not that bad. Just work with it, and as you scrap along the top, I guess this makes me think of some of you home fixer-uppers, like doing grout. If you like doing grout work, it's kind of like that. Because you keep getting more off the top, the excess. So, well, let's see if I don't have enough here. I really cut it close. See. Of course, trees aren't perfect in the woods, so don't have to worry about it. Let's see where we go here. I don't know. Live television or whatever. Almost. Don't give up. A little bit there, a little bit here. I might make it, girls. I don't know. Are you betting for me or against me? I got to get this tree in the middle. It's kind of fun. I don't do a lot of home improvement, but if anything, it reminds me probably of home improvement things. There, I think we did it. So if I was going closer to the sink, I'd be kind of working with the water there. I'm just going to put this down. Out of the way. Doesn't look too bad. So then you just pull it up. Pull your trees up. Hold your trees down and pull it up. Like I said, this one has some big open areas that take a while to release. There you go. Okay, get rid of him. A little washi tape on there, or painter's tape would work. Take it off without flinging it. There we go. There's our trees. Woohoo! Okay. Make sure if you're not going to right away clean that stuff, you want to stick it in water so it doesn't get solidified. In fact, it can be tricky to clean, I find, if I don't get to it right away. So I use a little nail brush on it, actually, later in the water to help loosen it up. Or it can dry and you can scratch it off, too. A little bit of snail underneath here to keep that paper from moving on me. See if I can get it off of there. There we go. There we go. And unfortunately, now I see what I forgot. I forgot my, we're going to heat it on the air, which I don't normally do. I got to unplug a light to do this, so hold on. Let's see how we do. Unplug this one. So this is the fun part. It's actually really fun when you're doing, I am missing my heating thing though, so hang tight. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. I'll need something to reflect the heat. Here we go. All right. This'll do. You know I'm always grabbing things from the kitchen, right? So we don't want to heat it on top of this plastic, because those heaters get really hot and everything's going to blow away on us. So we'll see how we do with this. I've never done it live, but let me try to heat this where you can see it. Sorry for the noise. We'll let it heat up just a little bit. I can do this without burning myself and without making all my papers fly away. Put that on top of that. So just hit it with the heater. Now, if you don't, it will heat. You can get it to heat. Just not heat, but you can just let it dry on its own. If you can see what I'm doing here. If I'm in the shop. I guess I'm not in the shop. But you just heat it, and as you go, it starts to puff. And you know you're getting there because it gets lighter too, because it's wet stuff, a little wet on the paper. But you just want to go. It's not like when you're doing like black embossing paste and you see it turn from matte to glossy. But it does start to raise and kind of puff a little bit. And your paper starts to lift up because it's getting less, see if I can not burn my finger here. Hold on. See how that tree kind of starts to puff? I don't know if you can see it. But I'm in there. I'm not in there anymore, am I? I'm out of the shop. Sorry, girls. I knew this would be tricky. That's why I've never showed you live. But that's pretty good, and it just starts to dimensionalize, as you can see. So, and it's a little warpy, but it'll go back down, and of course you'll be gluing it down, adhering it. Just let it sit for just a little bit. So, okay. I think that's all that I had to show you down here, and there we go. So, kind of fun, and I enjoy it, and it's quick and easy, and almost quicker and easier than doing the inking. I didn't do the inking in front of you, but it can take a while sometimes if you're just using your stamp pad to get the colors you want. So, but let's get that out of here. The drink will turn up, and see who's still here. Hang on. Yay! There's a few people. I hope it wasn't too noisy. Okay. Who's here? Anybody? Hold on. Oh, there we go. Yay! Did you leave us, Sylvia? Hold on, people. I gotta get it so I can see you. It's always tricky when you're trying a new spot. What'd you think? Is it all right? You're still here? Yay, I'm still here too. I didn't burn myself. So that's how you do that if you've never done. And I'm sorry, I get in trouble all the time because that's not the official. Actually, our heating tool is better than that one. Ours has 2 settings. So I mean, I was crafting and scrapbooking before this, before I started doing this. So I have some things still from my prior days, or some things that people have given me. In fact, someone gave me that heat tool. But I do want to get ours because ours has 2 settings. So that would be really helpful when you're doing your heat embossing. So, but that was today's tip. So we have the Facebook room. If you haven't clicked going on that event yet, please click going, because when I do the room, I created the event in the group, and if you're watching this on my page and you're not in my group, please ask to be added and I'll add you. So, and as if you, that way when I start the room on Sunday, it's 1:30 on Sunday. When I start the room, I will make sure that you're invited in. I mean, it's just kind of a different system, but it's fun. If you've never done the room with us, it's very casual. It's very relaxed. I'm not demoing anything. I just get to relax too. We're just all hanging out, working on our projects together. So that's what a Facebook room is. So I'd love to see you in the room, and go to the event and let me know you're going, because that day of the room, I will tag you in it to make sure you know we started it. But I don't want to tag you if you didn't say you're going, because I don't want to bother you or make you feel bad either. So also going forward, our next live is not until the 15th. So we're going to skip the day after the room. And I think that's it, ladies. Excuse me, I'm going to lose my voice. But remember, I think it's the 10th, of course, is our cutoff for the next paper pumpkin. So make sure you're in line for that if you want to get in on those free stencils. But have a good night, everybody. I will see you in the room on Sunday. And then our next live will be the week after that on the 15th. Good night. Thanks for coming, everybody. Sorry we didn't chit-chat a lot, but there was a lot of demoing going on. So good night, everybody. I will see you in the room. Bye-bye. Have a good week till then.